first of all, introduce Dr. Spiros Kolkas. Spiro is co-founder and CEO of Imagine Heritage, which is a nonprofit entity, which is one of the major organizers of this event, as I said in my brief introductory speech today. And by the way, my colleagues are distributing the text that Spiro is about to read out loud to us. So basically, his speech. I don't think we're going to have any PowerPoint presentation to accompany the paper, his talk. I'm also taking this opportunity, please, Spiro, join me anytime, to say it's like an announcement that, well, Spiro and I have been working together on a number of projects for the past couple of years. One of them will be a conference, the National Conference on Byzantium and Florence in the Ages and Renaissance, and that hosted will take place, be hosted by ISI Florence in our two facilities, Palazzo Municipality and Palazzo Marcari in late October. Now, more on this in the following months. Now it's time for me to turn the floor over to Spiro for his talk. Thank you.
Thank you, Stefano. First of all, I would like to thank all the agencies and the entities that support this organization. And I have to say that 2 years now, especially because of Stefano, our organization is more than welcoming here from the beginning, not only the Comune di Firenze, but also Destination Florence Foundation. And UNESCO Florence supported all the plan and the vision that shared with Stefano from the beginning. And the first idea was that, and this conference is the first step about it, that we want to spreading and disseminating all around Europe that we need a new kind of humanism today. And we call this with Stefano Humanitas Reloaded. And this conference is the first step on this context, on a European context. Of course, I would like to say, first of all, thank you, because without the vision of Athena Critical, the passion and the knowledge, and at the same time the support would not be feasible to understand what's going on in the civil society about the disabilities and how actually we have to approach as civil society organizations those issues. And it's very important to go beyond, especially when we speak as representatives of civil society, to our ego, to understand that we need alliances, connections, and first of all, to accept that we have to make a step back and first of all, to take the advices and the strategic orientation from the people that devoted almost all their life on this. What I want to share with you today actually is about the importance of inclusive education for European democracy. And I think that it's very important to actually personally believe on it, to go beyond a frame that I have the sense that restricted many important efforts all around Europe on these issues, on disabilities. I mean, the frame of accessibility and the restriction around the accessibility. Many people in our society believe that the whole issue is about this. And many people, even on the volunteering sector and the civil society sector, actually sincerely engaged on these issues in order to show their solidarity. And this is something that actually restricted on how to support people to be and to feel more comfortable. And I think that dear Frosso and this fantastic presentation before me proved the deepest essence of what's going on, and which is the mental approach that we have to consider about the reality of these problems. And of course, this is not about the accessibility, but for me, it has to do with citizenship. So if we don't want actually to restrict on these issues, and we want to have a real pressure on the state level and on the European policy level. First of all, we need to understand that inclusive education is something very important for the majority, for all society. And I would like to argue that the framing of accessibility is insufficient for this reason. So education, we have to understand that is an infrastructure. And it is an infrastructure that is not only defined by the state policy, according to my opinion, but civil society history, many decades now, prove that is more important the whole self-organization, the alliances, the networks of the citizens that prove to be more efficient than the state services. And at the same time, I think that this era is more mature in order to ask something more. And this is about a common European policy and a common European, let's say, movement for what we really want to have in order to change our education. A movement about inclusive education and all strata of disabilities to be included on it. So beyond this, we have to say that cultural democracy is a European project. But what does it mean? It means that, first of all, we need to harmonize standards. And in order to harmonize standards, we have to create, let's say, coherent European platforms that all these experiences that, for example, today shared here, not only stay on the level of, how can I say, a database for common access of knowledge, but actually would create a new kind of lobby. And if you don't have a lobby from the civil society on the central decisions that design, not only on the Brussels level, but also on the level of each state member of the European Union, it's not possible actually to have any serious impact on the changing that we really want to have on the educational level. And this, say, lobby is not possible to create it by from the top, but it's feasible only to create it from below. So in order to harmonize the standards, in order to harmonize everything that has to do with UNESCO experiences, social organization experiences like SKEP, researches of academians like those that already presented, at the same time, policy measures that we really want to provide it as common on a European level, we need to take this initiative and organize on a European level platforms that actually will press the central decision mechanisms. So this is one part. Another part has to do with what we really wanted to change outside of the school. Because many people think that the whole problem about the approach to disabilities is how to change their behavior. But from our experience, the short experience, because we are only 3 years now organization, many volunteers and many students from schools, what they really refuse is the didactic methodology about how to behave in society. And in order to go beyond this didactic approach, first of all, we need to make decisions and create proposals, submit proposals that our co-citizens with disabilities are, first of all, in position to be on the same level on the private market, in companies, in educational mechanisms of universities. I mean, in every part of the society that the kind of disability or the type of disability actually does not restrict them to be functional. And if I'm not wrong, the majority of the people that have disability are very functional on any kind of the social economy, of the private economy, of education, on the creation of art market, and etc. But the problem that many times these people share with us is that we don't have, not generally, an access, but we don't have the experience of socialization with the other people. And if we don't provide the socialization between the citizenship, how it's possible to speak about democracy? And how it's possible to say that we are supporting these people? So the real problem is that we don't want to stay in philanthropy. Philanthropy is very good. Philanthropy could support funding to give economic sufficiency on many important projects, and actually, of course, to change the everyday lives to thousands, even to millions of people that have this kind of problem. But the issue of democracy has to do with the assurement of socialization in the everyday life. And this kind of socialization will have to do with, of course, someone should take this decision. So I think, first of all, that we don't have, in Greece, I know that, we don't have metrics about how many companies in the private sector hired people with disabilities. And I'm very, very, very conscious that the same happens in Italy too, and to other European Union countries. How many public mechanisms and organizations, I mean, of the state sector, hire people with disability? And I'm not speaking here about this typical percentage that they use in order to prove that they are democratic, or in order to prove that they are, let's say, very, very adjusted with the whole culture of inclusivity. So here we have something that is very, very important and crucial. And I think that in order to be sincere, and I'm staying because my passion is the third sector, the independent sector, and what we call civil society, is civil society to understand that all the time to expect from the state, without organizing this kind of pressuring, and one step is like this fantastic initiative of SKEP to go to educational system and to have a certain intervention, we will stay romantic. We need more initiatives on this direction, but initiatives that will cover every part of the life of our co-citizens with disabilities. So there, what I would like to share with you today is the perception problem of the civil society. Because we usually speak about the perception problem for the rest of the society. The perception problem of people that are generally protagonists to do things and to organize things. For me, we have, first of all, to go beyond our fragmental character on how we are working. And that's why this initiative today, this conference today, is a very good example of the opposite way, the synergies. In Greece, and unfortunately in the rest of Europe, all the organizations that are working on the field, if they don't need, to prepare a proposal to submit for the European funding, it's not so easy to make any kind of synergy. That's the truth. We have to be sincere about it. Many of them also believe that they are very, very, very self-confident about their contribution. That's the truth. But nobody on the state level, nobody on the private level, nobody on the European Union level, and nobody, of course, on the private market, on the companies, that they used to have these racistic perspectives and beliefs, will feel any kind of pressure if we don't have synergies on a bigger scale. And this kind of strategic decision at the same time has to do with, if in civil society we have the perception, create a bigger climax of how we really believe that we are going to intervene on this direction. So I think that, and this is my, let's say, suggestion, today let's speak frankly could be a step in order to open the discussion in a European level and not stay only on the scientific analysis and presentations, but at the same time to try to, first of all, approach a plan that the next years we want a permanent base of organizations, personalities, researchers, of academia and scientists to move together, to work together about this. There are many people on the European Union level that they really wanted to support about a coherent and common European policy about this. For example, many people that coming from the European Union commissions on the social sector years now suggested that we really want a new kind of, let's say, observatory. Okay, something that will have, let's say, the legal power to test, to control, to choose any separate independent European Union member, how is working the inclusivity in the real public sector, in the real private sector, or how protect these people to have real rights as the other citizens. So these people and these commissions that are not coming from the disability sector, but from the social economy sector, have these metrics about the need to make a transition to a different kind of, let's say, demanding policy for the states. And this policy should focus more on how the state should take measures in order to make this inclusion happen in real life. So this will be very helpful at the same time to speak about a symbolic and cultural contribution of how we really want to include citizens with disabilities on the cultural democracy. Because here, and this is something that our organization would like to contribute on the way that we approach heritage, because for us heritage is not the archaeological, historical frame, but has to do with any kind of social practice that has already a legacy and transferred from generation to generation. And that's why civil society heritage is very important. So here we need to do certain things in order to say that if we are going to follow something that is not so popular, because the majority of organizations of our field would like to create projects about museums, accessibility, archaeological spaces, accessibility, and other type of accessibility, is to say that no, the cultural thing is first of all to fight the other citizens with disabilities to be in position to work, to learn, to travel, protect, and to have a voice like you. This could make something to be more productive and at the same time to be really helpful for them. Because I'm sure SKEP have the best experience about this. The most beautiful thing for these people is that they really, this feeling that they are contributing on the society like anyone else. This feeling is something that we need to reconstitute and to protect and, of course, to enforce. And I think that if we check that many organizations has a minority of their officials coming from the disabled community, we can prove that we have to make many steps about this. The last thing is that I want to share is about what we can do if we want to start from the family. Because from the family, what we have to confront is a cultural context that is not building in one day. And the first thing is, of course, policies, and policies that are coming from the educational context. And on this, on this, let's say, spot, there is a meeting between the state experience, because when we speak about the educational system, it's a public sector mostly, and at the same time, social heritage of certain attitudes and certain stereotypes. So we want projects that, first of all, could give the possibility to the families, to the parents, I mean, to be engaged in order to test it, in order to understand, in order to go beyond their own limitations for how they confront their own children. And this is something that on a cultural level too, we can use many tools for create a different atmosphere than the usual one that many people also serve, which is the psychological one. For example, many families refuse to get engaged on these issues, families with people with disabilities, because they have a feeling that the only methodology is actually a medical one or a psychomedical. And we need the cultural methodology. We need the social, cultural, and social artistic methodology in order to engage families, and also through the heritage experience and the transfer of the heritage experience with families for why they should be the first, that they have to acknowledge the capacities, the skills, and actually the normality of their children. Because I agree that the problem is not about the definition of diversity. So I will close, first of all, saying that here in Florence, there is an important opportunity to speak about humanism again, not with a traditional way, but with a way that needs updates. And I think that we have to pressure UNESCO, Comune di Firenze, and other important organizations of the cultural industry that are based here to take more initiatives on this direction and stay behind and beside us in order this perception about the real inclusion of disabled citizens to be more feasible the next years. Thanks again, Stefano, Athena, and for your participation, all the speakers that honored us to be here today and contribute with their knowledge.